Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm here with my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia. How you doing today, babe?
I'm doing pretty well. Merry Christmas.
Yes,
Oh
Merry
my gosh.
Christmas.
It's Christmas Day, boys.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you.
I think I
To
listened to every
you.
Christmas song in the world yesterday.
Jingle bells, jingle
The black
bells.
version of the songs I listened to yesterday.
Santa Claus is coming to town. Well, Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5 is the best Christmas album of all time.
Yeah, and they're Jehovah Witness.
Yeah.
They're not even what?
You don't lay down?
I'm kind of laying down. I'm
Oh,
sitting
okay.
up a little bit.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite? What is your favorite Christmas album of all time?
Are you
What?
asking me? Or are you asking?
I'm asking you, and then I'm asking the audience. What is your favorite
Okay,
Christmas album?
no, my favorite Christmas song, there's two, but number one is This Christmas by the Whispers.
Oh,
The
okay.
Whispers
Okay.
version
Okay. Okay.
is the best. And my second favorite has got to be Silent Night by The Temptations. Wait, is that the name of the song?
Silent night, holy night,
Those two are my favorite.
shepherd's quake. Yeah, that was that bass. That bass is what did it. Mine is Michael. Mine's the Jackson 5.
Okay.
And then, yep, Ebony says, Steve, someday at Christmas. I love that. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, the Stevie Wonder. Yeah.
Someday at Christmas,
Oh, it was a
play with
political song.
guns like kids play with toys. Yep.
It was
And
like
then,
an anti-war song. So I
and
love
oh my
that.
God, when he sang One Little Christmas Tree,
One little Christmas tree
standing
standing
alone,
alone.
waiting for someone to come by.
Oh, it was sad.
Yeah, I felt so bad for that little Christmas tree. I was like, damn, somebody help that tree out. Oh, anyway, well, Merry Christmas, everybody. How you doing? And yeah, so it's funny. I accidentally, when I scheduled our podcast online, I scheduled it for 11:15 p.m. instead of a.m.
Yeah,
But
you were discombobulated. You misspelled Megan's name.
I did. I
But
totally
her
did.
name is not, it's not intuitive.
It's not.
Meagan.
Yeah, and I thought that good was spelled with an e at the end.
Yeah, it usually
And it's
is.
not. No, it's Meagan. So
She
Megan
done
is
messed us
good.
up. Her name messed us up.
Oh my gosh! It has hey Nori and Detroit Man and Torloff and Teresa and Kaylin. Shout out what city you're coming from. Feel free to shout out what city you're coming from, and let us know what your favorite Christmas album is. And also give me a yes or no in the chat. How many of y'all have seen or paid any attention to the divorce, the interesting divorce between Megan Good and Devon Franklin? Unfortunate divorce, by the way. It's kind of sad. I mean, to see the two of them not make it. It's been big news.
Yeah, I saw them last night on the OWN channel.
And what were they doing? Talking
They
about
were doing,
how to stay married?
yeah, they were actually. They were on
No.
there. They were
Oh,
talking about
why would Oprah run that episode? If they should have,
why would she run
they
it?
should have took it down. They shouldn't have ran. I mean, that's a little
Let
embarrassing
me
for
tell
them.
you, they look so beautiful.
And they are beautiful.
She had this really nice green dress on, and he had like a black suit with the same green that she
Mm.
had, and they were talking about love at Christmas, and they look so good together. You almost want to do an intervention, see if they can work it out.
Well, I mean, but you're a licensed therapist and you work with a lot of couples
I
and
do.
and you really did a good job of schooling me on the difference between a licensed therapist and just anybody who's just talking on the internet, like all the exams you had to take and all the studying you had to do and everything else. And I would wonder, it seemed to me, again, I'm not licensed in therapy, but it would seem to me that before you even would want to try to keep them together, it seems like you'd want to find out why the marriage wasn't working in the first place.
We don't really know because they haven't really said anything, have they? But we could speculate.
Yeah, well, we could, but I don't,
We
I
can
don't.
do some
Well,
speculation.
let me just say this.
You don't like speculating?
I think some modest degrees of speculation is okay, but I don't want to get into being gossipy about them,
Will it
in
come
a
off as
derogatory way.
will it come off as gossip?
Well, I think that you can speculate, and I think generalizing in terms of talking about the bigger concept is more interesting as far as like I don't want them to feel bad. Like I don't want it to sound feel like I'm bashing them or making fun of them or attacking them.
Well, we don't know. That's the thing. So they just said, I'm thankful for the gift of us being together, and I can't remember what the statement said, but I mean, all we can do is speculate on their life
Yeah,
and
well,
use that as an example of lessons going forward. So are you
well,
worried that people are going to be like, stop gossiping about Megan
yeah. I
and
think. Well,
Franklin?
one of the things I
Is that
think.
what you
Well,
think
well,
is going to happen?
here's what I think. I think that
Are
we
you
should.
worried about those comments?
No,
I
no, no.
don't
No, no,
care.
no. It's not about the comments.
Okay.
It's about who we are. It's about choosing not to be gossipy and instead saying, okay, what are some higher level concepts? Like, our platform's for intelligent black people, right? And intelligent people don't just talk about with somebody else's life. It's like talking about your life, right? And I think that with Megan Good and Devon Franklin, there were a lot of inspirational things about their marriage, but then there were a lot of things where smart people looked at that 10 years ago and said, I wonder how this is going to work. You know, especially when you talk about, things like, because remember, first of all, people should know that when a couple is public, it's not by accident. Like, usually someone has um, chosen to make the relationship public. Like, we chose to make our relationship public. I mean, let's keep it 100. When we put up little pictures like this and whatever, like, that's our decision to say, okay, we're willing to let people into our lives. Because and we did it because we believe in black love. We
Mm-hmm.
believe that I believe that black men should be really reminded of the significance and importance of black women, how great it is to head a family. You are supporting black men by us, and it's hard. It's risky. It's tough because every relationship, I don't care who you are, you're gonna have challenges. You're gonna so when you're out there like that, you're like, man, what if this doesn't work out? What if this goes wrong? So part of my heart really goes out to these two because I think it was courageous for them to just even let the world know what was going on in their personal life. You know?
All right. I think I've been going through social media not very much recently, and I see a lot of people post pictures of themselves and their significant other and the people in their lives. I mean, so everybody does it. People, when you make the commitment, everybody puts pictures. All my friends who are married, they put pictures of their husband up.
Not
And
not
so it's
not everybody.
something. Not
Do you
everybody,
ever
but
do you ever wonder about those women that will have kids and they'll put pictures of the kids and with themselves with the kids with no pictures of the husband? I know women like that, married women. I'd be like,
yeah,
where is your husband at?
yeah.
That's a
So
that's a little weird to
So
me.
there we go. We're speculating that if you don't put any pictures of your spouse up, it's like, why are you not posting your spouse?
Yeah.
And if you do, it's like, okay, so you're posting your spouse, you're putting them out, you're putting yourself out there. So it's just something that people do normally. And so I see us as such a normal couple.
Well, you know what's funny is
Uh-huh.
like this picture that you and I took, like this is a picture. I believe that when somebody posts themselves with another person, I don't know, maybe everybody doesn't think this way, but I think this way because I know that I have, like hundreds of thousands of followers. So every single thing you put out there,
It gets scrutinized.
you got to think about it. You just have to
Uh-huh.
be thoughtful about it. So a picture like this, if I put a picture like this up, I want everybody to just know what it is, right? We did have a photographer. We ain't gonna throw no bullshit out there. And also, this is a picture I put out there with you and I because you're my wife,
Mm-hmm.
right? Notice if you go through the internet, you can search all through the whole internet everywhere, and you will never find a picture like that with me and my ex girlfriend or any woman I ever dated in the last, decade or more, ever. And it's not because I thought that they were bad people. It's just that only one person is the chosen one. Right? So you're the chosen one, babe.
Well, you know what? I usually don't put pictures up like that, and I
Yeah, you
put
did.
pictures. I'm gonna put some pictures up of you today.
You
How
sure
about
did.
that?
Well, you look cute in your red
I'm
pajamas.
I'm gonna blast you out today,
You should.
boys.
Well, we had that corny, funny picture of us wearing matching. I promise y'all, we're gonna get to Megan Good and
I
Devon
do want
Franklin
to
in a
get
minute.
to Megan
Like, can
Good.
I show them the picture of us wearing the? I was so proud of the little gift I got where we got
Oh yeah,
the matching. Like I'm corny like that. I don't care. When,
you
when you
think
get a
it's corny?
when
I
you get
don't
a
think it's
family, you're supposed to
corny.
do corny stuff like this, right? So we all bought. I bought these blanket like wearable blankets, and everybody it was a hit.
Well,
It
it
was a
was
hit.
the thing is we went and had to go outside because it was so warm.
Yeah,
We
and
were really
those
warm.
things are really really comfortable.
They
And
are.
now, yeah, and I was so because I'm telling you, man, when you're like the bonus dad, there's no rule book really on how to be the bonus dad. I ain't gonna say stepdad because we don't use stupid words like that. But the bonus dad. So I was like, how do I frame this in a way where this really works for everybody? So like with the kids, I just convinced them repeatedly. I said, look, you're lucky. You have two dads. You know, and I'm your dad for life.
They
Period.
definitely felt lucky last night. These kids had so much fun last night.
Oh, that was great. But the funny thing is, Quincy's growing up, so now everybody thinks I'm super short. They think I'm Kevin Hart size.
It's crazy how he shot up. Like he came back from college. I couldn't even. I mean, he was so super tall. He grew several inches.
The dude is 6'8".
He's got to be 6'8".
Yes,
It's
he's a big
crazy.
boy. What the hell, man? Anyway, where did you get those jackets? We got them on Amazon. I'll try to find the link.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you
okay,
should put the
okay,
link up.
we got to get back to Megan.
Okay. I
Megan.
mean, yeah, I'm ready to talk. I'm ready. Okay. So y'all can beat up on me and not beat up on boys, but I'm ready to speculate.
Yeah,
I'm ready to do some
let's talk. Let's
speculation.
speculate. If we're gonna speculate, let's do it in a way where it's not so much just about them. I think
Yeah.
it should be about us and the people listening. So here's what I think. First thing I want to ask
You
you about.
don't like when I use that word.
Yeah, I don't like speculation because that's gossipy.
It
That
doesn't
feels
feel
that feels
gossipy to
gossipy to
me.
me. It does to me, and I don't want to. And I don't want because here's the thing, right? I have
Wait,
a
I thought we hold on. I thought we were supposed to be talking about what's his first name? Devon and Megan.
yeah. Well, I have a heart for them though.
We all do.
I
I definitely do.
because everybody's speculating, like People Magazine speculating. So here's what I think. Here's what I think we could do, right? Here, let's talk about the concepts behind their
Exactly.
emergence in the public. Right,
Exactly.
right.
That's
So
exactly where
so
I'm
let's start.
going.
Let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. Let's go back a decade. Does anybody remember? Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no if y'all remember. Megan Good and Devon talking about the fact that they did not have sex before marriage.
Yeah, she took a vow of celibacy. I do remember that. She said she was going to be celibate and she's date. And I thought it was really interesting because I didn't really follow her career very closely, but I've seen her work and she's a great actress and beautiful lady. And I remember thinking, wow, that's interesting. She's got into religion.
Mm-hmm.
She's become very religious. So I thought that was fascinating. And
Well,
she
every
took a vow of celibacy, her and the man she was dating at the time. And I said, wow, she's dating a preacher. And but he's not a preacher. I don't know if he
I think
actually is a pastor at a church.
he's deep in church though. He's deep in the
Yeah, but I
church.
don't know if he is running a congregation
I don't know what.
right now. I
I
didn't
don't think he
see
has a
that.
congregation.
Okay, he doesn't have a congregation. So he must be ordained or something. I don't know. But I thought that was really interesting that
Mm-hmm.
here she is, she's an actress, and then now she's took a vow of celibacy and has turned to what religion. So
Okay,
I thought that was fascinating.
let me throw in my first bullshit on that, right? In the
Uh-huh.
sense that that really, I mean, whenever somebody comes to me and they're like, "Oh, we waited till marriage,"
Mm-hmm.
I am admittedly somewhat skeptical. I'm very skeptical,
Okay.
and the reason I'm skeptical is because I think that sexuality is a basic human need.
So
You
how were
know,
they getting their sexual needs
right
met?
there. That means so to me, if you're, but here's the thing. Here's what. So, but it doesn't mean you're not trying to do something noble and righteous or saving something for marriage, right? So, but you ain't saving everything for marriage. I think that's the point. It's like if I say, I saved $100,000. Doesn't mean I made $100,000. That means I might have made 1 million, but I saved 100,000, which is still a good thing, but it's not the same as me saying I sacrifice everything. So my point is to say that whenever couples say we're waiting to have sex, my thought is, okay, so that means you're just substituting sex for something else, or you're substituting intercourse for something else. And usually it'll be, something oral. It'll be, something involving self stimulation, whatever you want to call that.
You mean
Uh,
masturbation?
so I don't want. We ain't got to.
Oh,
We're on YouTube. I don't want to
you
have.
don't want to say
I
that
don't want
word?
the YouTube bots to.
But that's the technical word.
Well, why don't you call it self
Self-love.
soothing, self love? There we go. We ain't got to be crass on a Christmas morning. I mean,
I'm sorry.
my goodness,
I
woman.
spent all night with my cousins and my brother. And so I heard a lot of crass things
Your
last night.
cousins,
They are
man. Oh
crass.
my goodness.
They're crass, but I mean, boys,
I love them though.
you
I
have
love
to
them.
understand, like, that's what I grew up with. Having an older brother and hanging out with him and all his friends, and just
Mm,
sitting there listening to what a whole bunch of men say to each other. you know
mm.
I've had the
That's true.
privilege of doing that, and so
I,
it helped me deal with men,
mhm.
because I knew what men think. How
I,
men think.
I get it. I get it,
Yeah.
and I respect it. Right. So yes, but
Anyway,
I was
so
just
I'm a
I
little
was just saying
crass.
maybe we should try to keep it clean because the YouTube bots be listening. But then again, I can't talk because I cuss all the time on my channel. So, but here's the thing, right?
Hmm.
When you say you're waiting, the other thought that comes to mind also is I wonder how that works because I knew a lady one time who had a long distance relationship, and she was I think she was Seventh Day Adventist, like Devon. Devon is actually Seventh Day Adventist, which yeah, right there,
First,
that's a
okay,
whole nother set of
I
issues we
know
can
a lot
discuss.
of people who are 7 day Adventists, and it's interesting because, like, how can I don't know. I respect them. They're wonderful individuals. Actually, they really are. And good integrity. So, very good compassion, from the people I know who are 7 day Adventists. But one thing I just couldn't get around was you can't do anything on a Friday night and all day Saturday.
Right,
That was the part that was just like, good grief, that's the fun part of the week. And
right.
I just couldn't even understand. Like, I gotta say goodbye to you. I can't do anything with you Friday night and all day Saturday.
That's true. Well,
It's like,
let me finish telling my
anyway, I
story.
couldn't get over that. But go ahead.
Okay, so let me finish telling my story. All right, so there was a lady I knew who was a 7 Day Adventist, and actually this was when I was maybe 15 years ago, and I thought she was a pretty lady. I was actually trying to holler a little bit, but she told me she had a boyfriend, and her boyfriend lived in Seattle, and she said that they were waiting until marriage, and I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. I didn't believe, but I'm more of a
Wait, was
realist.
he 7 day Adventist too?
I don't know. But anyway, let me
Okay.
finish the story. So
Hmm.
she said they were waiting. And I was like, are you sure he's waiting? Are you sure you're both waiting? And she said, yeah, he's waiting, he's waiting. And so she check this out. So she said so a couple months later she flew out to see him. And there was another lady that came by who was like talking to her like, why are you with my man?
Uh-oh.
And the lady was like, that's my man. He's been my boyfriend for a year and a half. And she said, no, he's been my boyfriend for 3 years. And so basically, here's my point. I think this guy liked her and he was willing to wait. But just because somebody's waiting with you doesn't always mean they're waiting with everybody. Like sometimes they're finding a substitute. Like if I'm waiting for one restaurant to open, that don't mean I don't go eat across the street.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting. So I'm always curious when people sort of say it, especially if they say it in kind of an arrogant way, like we're waiting, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. I really believe 9 times out of 10, there's something else happening beneath the surface.
Yeah, I study reasons why married people stay together.
Mm-hmm.
And waiting to have sex, waiting to be married to have sex is never one of the indicators I've come across.
Mm.
I've taken CEU trainings.
So
I
wait,
have
I know you have.
studied this.
But tell me, wait. So you said waiting is not a reason to get married?
No, waiting, waiting to have sex until you're married was never one of the factors that I've seen come up to predict satisfaction in your marriage.
Okay.
So I it was just really interesting that they wrote a book about this, and
Well,
it was
maybe it's
really
not the
nice.
satisfaction though. Maybe it's done just to because you just that's just what you believe.
Okay, well, I don't know. I'm thinking that they wrote a book about this, and they're advocating waiting. I don't know what I didn't read the book. I don't know what the reason is, but as a couple therapist, I haven't come across any information that says waiting until you get married to have intercourse actually does anything in terms of impacting the quality of that marriage, whether that marriage lasts longer. I just haven't seen it. It hasn't come across.
Hmm.
That there are other factors that have, but that particular thing, I haven't seen that data.
Yeah, I think waiting is I think it's fine if that's what someone wants to do.
Hmm.
But I think sometimes I saw this there was this really angry lady named Deborah or something who wrote this really great article called Does the Black Church Keep Women Single and Lonely? And in this article she basically said she felt and I didn't disagree with her, that sometimes the church will give you rules on how you're supposed to live your life. And similar to, they do, and, the Mormon and the Baptist churches, all a lot of them do this. It's almost like the rules are designed to keep the men in power over the women, to allow the women. So like, if I'm your pastor or your deacon or whatever, right, and we know about the freaky stuff that happens in church or whatever, and I'm telling all the women in the congregation, right? Because most of these, let's just be keeping 100, strong heterosexual black males are not as inclined to go to church. Like, I know I'm gonna be at home taking it. I'm gonna sleep in on Sunday. I'm gonna be watching NFL football all day. I'm not trying to go and sit there and listen to some dude preach to me and then give him all my money. That doesn't mean I'm making fun of people that do it, but it's like, if you go to church, you're typically outnumbered, and if you're a man, right, a straight man. So here's my point. So ultimately, what she believed is that when the deacon and the pastor are saying, you should not sleep with anybody till marriage, and also, or if you do date somebody, you should date somebody in the church. Then you find out in some cases that the pastor and the deacon is screwing all the women in the church.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of feel like it's a little bit of a hustle, that the women are, because I know women who follow those rules who ended up lonely, like, who never ever got to have kids. Like, Megan good ain't got no kids. Not to say that Megan is the person who's victimized by this, because she was married to her
Well,
husband.
I wonder about that. Let me jump in here because I do wonder about that. When you're married to a preacher, it's like you're the first lady. And so these expectations are put on
Mm,
you. And I think that it's can be very constricting. And that's a problem if you're in Hollywood and you are want to get a bunch of different roles and you want to be free. It's that restriction can cause problems if you're married to someone that's not letting you be who you want to be,
well, speaking of,
and being able to stretch yourself as an actress and not say I'm going to be a Christian actress, that's what I'm just going to always live by. And it can be okay, what if you don't want to follow the rules of that group? Is your husband going to leave you, because your husband's in the church or has to follow this sort of doctrine? And to be an actress and to be able to grow and to develop and to push yourself and to take on roles and to grow your career, you need to be able to step outside of the box that religion puts you in. And so
mm,
that's what I'm wondering, like that could be like a big issue between the two of
well, I
them.
wonder. Well, I'm gonna tell you. You know, I was engaged to a woman who was a Seventh-day Adventist,
Yeah.
and they don't, the one, at least the ones I knew, they don't really like outsiders that much. Like,
No,
if you're doing stuff that's, even if you're just not going to church with them right there,
they
and
looking at you side
at least
eye.
in my experience, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't, and I had not ever had an experience with that, because I always thought that if I was just a nice person, that would be enough. But no, in some spaces,
Yeah.
if you're not one of us, then you're
Hmm.
evil. So,
And
but
by the way, that was the only concern I had because I remember
don't
when
talk about my
it was
previous
the
thing.
only concern I had,
Hmm.
voice, about
Yes.
relationships and your relationship, was the fact that it was the religion. Coming from different religions, coming from different backgrounds is an issue.
Mm.
That was my
Okay.
one. That was my one concern.
That is true. Well, everybody's got a religion. Academia is a religion, ma'am. So anyway, but listen to this. So here's the thing. Like, so with Megan Good, I think.
Academia is not a religion.
Okay. Anyway,
Okay. What are you talking
so with
about?
Megan Good, if you remember, there was the controversy where she gave out a gospel award wearing a dress with boobs and nipples and everything else kind of showing, and a lot of people gave her a lot of heat for that. And they were like, "Wait a minute, you are married to a guy who's an elder in the church.
He's an
You
elder in the
or
church.
something. He's an elder deacon. I don't know.
Okay.
He's deep. He's deep up in the church. I think he's a minister, but not a pastor. He doesn't have a church, but he does. Like, he's deeply connected to the church. And she came to the award show like dressed like that, and a lot of people gave her a lot of flack online over that.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You can't it's you're constricted in terms of what you can wear, how you express yourself in your clothing. All of that is being judged. I think that religion, and so I'm not anti-religion necessarily, but it can be very restrictive. So they can tell you like what you can say, what acting roles you can take, and what acting roles you need to decline. Because I remember her declining acting roles because it just wasn't Christian enough. And
Mm.
so how are you going to grow? And you can't wear a certain thing. They monitor your clothing and who you talk to and what you do, the type of roles you pick. That's very constricting, and I'm really wondering like how much that factored into him just being frustrated and saying, you know what, I'm done, let's get divorced, because this is not the type of lifestyle I want to live.
Mm, that's heavy.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My wife is a licensed therapist and full professor of social work. I am a PhD in finance. And we figured it would be fun to have a podcast where you could maybe listen in on what two overeducated Black people talk about when they're laying in their bed and they're in love with each other.
Yeah,
So,
and but I got another comment to make on that. I'm like, I got
well, let me give them
stuff
your
to
website.
say.
Well, let me give
Okay,
them your
give me my
website first.
website.
Her website, Dr. Alicia's website is it's coachingwithdralicia.com. So make sure you check that out. Or you can follow her on Instagram at coaching with Dr. Alicia. Now, what is your statement, babe?
Yeah, I want to say something else. Just because you come from two different religions, that doesn't mean your marriage can't be successful. It just,
Mm,
all it means is that you need to be able to allow your partner to um to just allow them to celebrate and to practice whatever religion they want. But that doesn't mean you can't force your religion on your partner. You can't say you must be Seventh-day Adventist or we can't be married. You must live by these restrictions and rules or we can't be married. That's not fair to do to someone else. I think the best couples now, definitely waiting to have sex before you get married is not a factor. But what is a factor for a successful marriage is allowing your partner to practice and to believe and to do and to be
mm,
who they are, and not tell them you have to do this. Like, both of you all need to sit down and decide, what are the rules of our relationship. What is okay? So you go to church on Sunday, I go to church on Saturday. Let's allow each other to do that. How are we going to run this household, making sure I'm holding it down while you're in service, you holding it down while I'm in service, and still love each other? That is possible.
I think it is possible, but here's one of the things. I remember hearing a long time ago that you should never, two things you should never talk about at the dinner table are religion and politics. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought about that a lot. And you notice people will fight over that. Like right now, we're fighting over politics. Did you get the jab? If you didn't get the jab, then you shouldn't even come to my house. And, or you voted, how could you vote for Trump? And, stuff like that. Like families are divided over politics. And I think that the reason that religion and politics are two tough areas to navigate when you have differences in a relationship is because it's cultish. It's
It is
cultish,
very
right?
cultish.
It's cultish, and when you're in a cult, part of that condition isn't just we believe what we believe. It is a lack of tolerance for anybody who doesn't believe what you believe, right?
Yes.
And the thing is that there's a lot of cults. I think
Well,
there's a lot of there's a
there's a
lot,
strict definition for the word cult.
right?
Cult means like you're in this
I
group
know.
and you can't get
I
out.
know. I
But
know. I
yes, I
know.
get
I
what
know,
you.
Professor. We will let you
Sorry.
we will let you lecture on cults in a minute. But my belief is that what I have seen with cultish behavior is a type of arrogance, where you believe that your truth is the primary truth, and anybody who doesn't understand your truth simply hasn't been educated to see the light, right?
Yeah, I
And I think that's a problem. Like you can't, like accept the fact that people don't believe what you believe, and respect that. If you can respect it, then that works. But there's some people who can't like I know Democrats who cannot respect why somebody would be a Republican. That pisses me off. It's like you might not be a Republican, but let it go, dude. Like you believe what you believe. Dr. Fauci is your Jesus or whatever, and Joe Biden is your buddy. Then do that. But
well,
stop criticizing people who believe something different. Go ahead.
yeah, and I think not even criticizing people who believe what something different. It is convincing someone else. It's trying to change their mind. I'm going to try to change your mind with this information. But at the same time, boys, I was watching that show Explained on on Netflix, and they were talking about the science of cults and stuff like that. And what they were saying was that you're not being open-minded. Your lack of open-mindedness is really what puts you in a cult. So you're firm on your beliefs, you receive information that is contradictory to what you believe, and you're not open to even look at anything different. So that's what was the problem with cults. It's like, okay, you're a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Let me try to listen to you. Okay, so why is that important to you? Like trying to listen to them and not trying to feel like someone's trying to convince you of it otherwise, but just really saying, okay, that information contradicts what I see on Fox News. My information is contradicting what you see on CNN, and just like, oh, like accepting that information. And
Hmm.
that's the problem with cults. Like, I'm hearing information that's
Yeah,
different from what I believe, and I'm
well,
just going
one,
to reject it.
right,
I'm
well,
not
what,
even going to explore why that's
right, well,
important.
one area that we've discussed, you and I just debated, is I believe even academia can be a cult. When I was in finance, you had the cult of capitalism. When I was in the field of finance, the University of Chicago was like the Vatican. And the reason, a lot of people don't even know this, but a lot of the reasons we've had major economic crashes in the last 15 years is because there were very bad financial models coming out of the University of Chicago
Hmm.
that no one in academia would question. I knew really smart people where we would secretly say, this doesn't even make any sense. This shouldn't be.
Well, that's not scholarly. If
It's
nothing is questioned, everything should be
that's the
questioned.
problem though. The problem was that if you questioned it, you would be penalized. So ultimately, what I would say though,
Oh, that's
overall
awful.
is generally speaking, I think a good rule of thumb is to have the ability to try to empathize and really understand other perspectives,
Yes.
even if you think it's crazy, even if you think you've got all the data and you've got all the science. Because right now, look at what they're doing right now with this whole conversation about the jab. Follow the science, follow the science. And then when a scientist steps up and says, well, here's some other science, they say, oh, that's not good science.
Yeah, we know that's really awful. So I think, like, with relationships, let's not be like that. Let's not be so polarized in our position that we can't allow our partner, and we can't listen to our partner, allow our partner to be who they are. And that's the problem in relationships.
I
Let's
agree.
bringing it back
So
to this.
so let
And mhm.
so with Megan Good, let me speak on that. You talked about her taking different roles and the limitations and things that
Also, mhm.
oh I was gonna
Okay,
bring
go ahead. Go
the
ahead. Sorry
thing
about that.
things that might have straws that might have broke the camel's back. I saw some people mentioning this show Harlem, and there was this scene in the show Harlem everybody's been talking about where somehow they're inexplicably she's about to have sex with some dude and his legs are up in the air.
Hmm.
Now, can anybody in the
That
chat
is really
help me understand?
what man does that?
That's when everybody came to me and said, "Oh, this ain't really
That's
a black show.
strange. No.
This is just a gay show with black people in it."
You know what it is? I haven't seen Harlem, but I'm just from that picture, that's very that's very, what is the word? Emasculating?
That's
Ema-
crazy. That's
he
that
doesn't look, that looks like a woman. Like, he's in the position of a woman on the bed, and she is in a position of a man.
right.
That's really a bizarre image.
It's very and that's so here, so put yourself in Devon Franklin's shoes, right? You know, you're the minister and your wife is in a scene like this.
Very effeminate. She's in a masculine and he's in a very feminine role picture.
That's just a crazy weird sex scene. I mean, that's something that's beyond having to sit there to watch your wife kissing men on screen and getting in bed with men. I mean, this was flat out crazy. A lot of black people were like, "I'm not watching this show."
Yeah. There's
That,
been some troubling things with a lot of shows
like,
with black people in them.
what is happening here?
Hmm.
Like, I was gonna check it out, and then I was like,
We should check it out, boys, just for data.
"You watch it, and
We
you
have to
tell me what you."
remove we have to remove our emotion from it and just
Mm,
watch it,
no.
just as scientists,
No,
boys.
I'll pass. That's some other
You're
stuff.
gonna pass on
That
it.
they got a new Avengers movie coming out.
Oh no, not another
I'll
one.
go watch the Black Panther 3 or 2 or I don't know which number they're on. But nah, but let me get this off the screen because I feel like that's just going to traumatize some people. But yeah, well, you know what? I'll say this. I'll let you kind of have the last word for sure. But I wish them the best. You know, I feel like they tried. They did 9 years. 9 years, that's a long time. They've probably overcome quite a bit. They've had a lot of trauma during that time. A lot of people, most of these marriages today ain't lasting 9 years. Most of these marriages ain't lasting at all. You know, so I think to some extent, as much as we might critique or anybody could critique,
That's from the Oprah Winfrey special, the
really,
OWN
okay,
special. Hmm.
okay.
That's a
As much as
green.
people might critique their breakup or and say what they're gonna say, I personally applaud them for at least trying. You know,
Hmm.
I think the fact that they tried, even if you fail, I think it makes you stronger. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I'm thinking, like, I'm thinking, she's a busy actress. I also wonder if like they spent a lot of physical time apart. So if she's doing roles and he's doing his
Mm,
thing, I wonder if all the travel, because
mm,
when you're traveling, it's really hard to stay connected to your partner. Well, it isn't hard. There's things you can do to stay connected so that it doesn't really make a difference if you're physically apart. You can be emotionally connected. But I just wonder if you're shooting a show and you have like a gig, an acting gig, and he's doing his own thing and you're doing your own thing. I'm just wondering, maybe they lost that connection from being physically apart working on roles,
that's a
because they
possibility.
met on a set. I think I looked in their bio. They actually met in a movie set.
Jump in the broom.
Jump in the broom.
2011.
Yeah, so they met and they were able to come together, but that connection has to be cultivated and it has to be able to maintain. And I think a lot of famous people, who are doing a lot of traveling, they're living in a whole bunch of different homes and hotels, and they're apart frequently. It can be really tough to keep that connection going.
Hmm. I agree. I agree.
And
I, I think it's I think that we live in an era, unfortunately, where when people are seeing so many of these divorces, a lot of people are just saying, "I'm not even going to try." Like, why even try? And I don't blame
that's
them.
a very sad thing.
It is sad, but it's like it'd be different if 98% of all marriages lasted. But when half of them end, and then in many cases you're talking about major um, sadness and financial devastation and stuff like that. I know a lot of people who are like, "Why would I even try to do this?" I don't want to take that chance.
Well,
So
that's
the
too
fact that
bad.
they took that chance,
Hmm.
I admire them for that. I think it's commendable, and so I wanted to have this conversation. My personal thing was I wanted to have the conversation without it seeming like we could sit here and gloat and say I told you so, or y'all ain't gonna make it. But I do think that some of those issues, like this whole the whole waiting conversation, waiting till marriage, and then promoting that in the book, and then also just some of the stuff that you saw later on down the line, it kind of speaks to me to being very careful about how much you preach to other people,
Hmm.
because the more you preach, the more you are at risk of appearing to be hypocritical, right? And I think that I didn't quite feel comfortable with that book called The Wait. Maybe maybe you write that book because you want people to feel better about the fact that they're choosing to wait, to feel more empowered, things like that. But I think that if you're telling people, hey, if you don't wait like we do, then something's wrong with you. I think that's a problem too.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, well, I think it's commendable. They were really into each other, and they really felt that waiting helped them in their marriage, and that they felt that it helped it grow stronger. And so, I mean, I like the fact that they kind of provided their own testimony, and I think what you alluded to in your story. You told a very interesting story about you think that person is waiting, but they may not be waiting.
Yeah,
They could break their promise of
yeah. I
waiting.
don't believe. Yeah, I
Um,
don't believe some.
so
Well, the thing
so
is,
you just don't you're not buying the whole thing.
yeah, I think sometimes I think somebody they can wait for you, but that doesn't mean they're gonna do something while they're waiting.
Hmm.
They're just
Or well, I think what you also were alluding to was that even if you wait for actual intercourse, there's other things you can do with
yeah,
each other.
right. That's true too. That's true too. I
I
think
think that's
about
what you were alluding to.
like I think about it reminds me of that Stanford marshmallow experiment where they were predicting that children who are more successful were the kids who they would give them a marshmallow,
Hmm.
and they said, look, you can eat one marshmallow now, or you can wait 15 minutes and get three marshmallows. And so they found that the kids that had the ability to wait
Hmm.
had more success in life because they were able to delay gratification, things like that. But what they found, though, in my view, based on how they described the study, was it wasn't like the kids were waiting and doing nothing. They
Hmm.
would be doing other things while they were waiting.
Hmm.
So I think that sometimes you might commend somebody because they waited 2 years to have sex with you, but they were doing other shit while they were waiting for
They
you.
were having sex with other people.
They
Is that what you're saying?
9 times out of 10, I believe they are. If you, I'm sorry, I'm a skeptical. If you tell me your man it has gone a year without having sex, I'm gonna really question that statement. I am.
Hmm.
I just seen too much. I had a friend like that who wasn't going to see her man except maybe once every 3 months. And I said, "Is he happy with that?" She said, "Yeah, he wants to be supportive of my career, so he doesn't,
Yeah.
he doesn't harass me about coming to visit." And I said, "Okay." And I was thinking to myself, "Yeah, he's probably just finding something to do
Yeah.
while you're out doing whatever." And then when you come around, he's supportive again, right? Like, "Hey, I just want to see you do well." And so
Hmm.
sometimes you got to be real careful when somebody's like, "Oh yeah, just take your time, do it. You know what? You do you. I want to just have your back." That don't mean they're not taking care of themselves.
Yeah, I think
It's
that.
not a completely selfless exercise in some cases.
Yeah, when I hear you tell that story, it just what I'm thinking about is what conversations are they avoiding? What conversations are they not having that they should have? So if this lady who you're providing as an illustration is really having a conversation with her boyfriend, she, clearly he's not speaking up. She needs to say, hey, I'm part of this religion. We wait until we get married, and this is part it is. And he needs to at that point say, I have a problem with that.
Mm,
He needs to be able to, in a way that's conducive, to be able to share his thoughts and feelings about what she said. And they're not, what's happening with a lot of couples is that they're avoiding conversations that they really need to have, because the truth comes out in the end. And now her feelings are hurt. I bet she was probably like, good grief, we could have talked about this, we could have worked this out, but instead you fed me bullshit and went and did whatever you wanted to do. And that's the
mm,
problem with relationships. You need to be able to have open, honest conversations with each other about how the rules of the relationship and how the relationship operates and is going to run. Don't just feed people what they want to hear and then go off and do whatever. That's not, first of all, that's not good commitment. Second of all, that's manipulation. Third of all, that's not being honest with the person who you're supposed to love. That's not loving that person. Because when you're restricting your thoughts and feelings and you're not really being honest with them, you're not demonstrating love.
yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I would
They
add
could
to,
have totally worked it out.
yeah, I think the only thing I would add to that is, if somebody believes that telling you the truth is going to cause you to leave them, I believe a lot of people won't have a conversation. They'll just say, you know what, I'll just handle this on my own,
Hmm.
because if I bring this up, it's
Hmm.
good. Like I can say
But
this.
the truth
I
always
can say
comes out, and
I
it's way
it
more
it it
devastating than if you had just been honest up
it
front.
is, it is. But I remember a long time ago, I had a relationship with a woman that we were together, for years, and I knew that there were certain topics that if I brought those topics up, we it would end the relationship.
So you
So
were avoiding.
I did,
The
absolutely,
avoiding
absolutely.
doesn't work.
Right, I agree. But listen, hold on, let me
Hmm.
finish. So I just avoided, but I was okay with avoiding because I was like, you know what? They say, do you want to be right or do you want to be married? Or do you want to be right or do you want to stay together? Right. So
Or,
sometimes when you want to stay together,
hmm.
you say, you know what? It's like if you're in the car, if like when women are in the car with their husband and he says, Abraham Lincoln was the first president of the United States. And she's like, no, actually it's George Washington. And some people say, girl, you need to just tell him the truth. Like, don't let him just walk around in ignorance
But
and
you're
you know
talking
the right
about a
answer.
fact.
Well, it's a fact, but let's
But
get. Here's the example.
hmm.
But it's the point I'm making. But if she knows he's gonna blow up and go crazy and and start cussing her out because she told him something that was a fact, did someone I could see somebody saying, you know what, I'm gonna just let him believe Abraham Lincoln is the first president of the United States until he's ready to hear the truth.
So that's avoiding conflict. And so what I'm concerned about is that people in those situations, you're walking around and you're hiding parts of yourself with your partner, and you're being, what can happen is that when you bury down and you're not being honest with the person, it comes out as passive aggressively. It can
Mm,
come out as resentment toward that person.
mm,
So in the end, it just is never ever a good outcome or a good scenario when you're holding in and not really communicating, opening up to your partner. Now if you open up to your partner and they yell at you and scream at you, that's abuse. You don't deserve that. You can say, look, you can even say, hey, I want to talk to you about something, but I'd like to have this conversation with you where you're not being triggered all the time. So the moment you get triggered, we're going to end this conversation, but you're so important to me, and our relationship is so important that we have to address this, because I don't want to walk around harboring resentment towards you. So
Hmm.
that's how you're supposed to handle those sorts of situations
I
in
agree.
a way that is helpful for the relationship.
Well, and I think that what you're saying is 100% correct. It seems to me that you're talking about a two-person tango,
Yes.
and
Oh yeah.
it's like playing basketball. And if you're playing basketball with somebody who
Hmm.
doesn't know how to play basketball,
Yeah.
it creates a very ugly basketball game.
It does.
So
And I'm
you
wondering.
know, if one partner is playing basketball, the other one's playing football. So what I mean by that is, um, commitment and connection and honesty is a two-way street.
Yeah.
I know that if I want people to be honest with me, I have to be prepared to receive honesty
Yes.
and react in a way that's going to be nurturing and supportive, and not react in a way that's going to be violent and evil and condescending or contemptuous, right?
Right.
So
Hmm.
ultimately, I think that I create space where people are very honest with me, because
Hmm.
I let them know that I'm not judging, right?
Hmm. And I'm
So,
and also you have to be a fearless person. So to be in a relationship, to be married, look at these two. They're fearless. They actually did it. They got married. And they did this. And I'm just wondering between the two of them, what conversations should they have been having on day one other than let's take a vow of celibacy. They should have had other conversations early on that hopefully they would have still be together today because they're a beautiful couple and they still love each other. I can see that they still love each other. So whatever the little technicalities were, I mean, it's really too bad that they weren't able to work those out.
yeah. It is sad. Well, we wish them the best, and also, by the way, if you want to take a look at Alicia's website, it's coachingwithdralicia.com. Dr. Alicia is a full professor of social work and a licensed couples counselor. So
So
she
I'm
see,
in the cult of academia and I'm in the cult of the therapist cult.
yes, absolutely,
Thank you.
for sure. And these are some of our Christmas pictures. In case you weren't here at the beginning, these are some funny little pictures we took, just I don't know, for fun. And that's Tater, Tater, our daughter.
Taylor was so excited to be in the picture. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah. So my buddy took a picture with me, and I thought that was awesome. So anyway, all right, everybody. Well, please have a good day, and if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everybody that is listening.
Happy New
Uh,
Year to people.
yes, happy
Yeah,
Happy New Year. We'll probably talk to you before New Year's as
I
well.
hope so.
Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel that you're on, and let's stay connected. So, and follow Alicia at Coaching with Dr. Alicia on Instagram. All right, guys, have a good day. We will see you soon. Take care.
Bye bye.